What's going on, everyone? Let's talk about finance. Sorry, I haven't really just been making everything about Bitcoin necessarily, but I feel like there's just things I got to talk about. And this time, I'm going to tell you, let's just say if you happen to be broke, if you feel like you can't afford anything, I know why. And I know that's a bold claim, but I promise you won't be disappointed to hear this. I know why you're broke. I know why. And it's because there's a core issue that you haven't dealt with. It's kind of hard to deal with this issue because this is the fact. You were told a lie. At some point in your journey, somebody lied to you, and I don't even think they knew it. You were told this lie. You ready? You were told, effectively, that if you worked hard, if you saved money, and if you didn't waste your money on stupid things, then financially everything's going to be okay. On the surface, that sounds totally fine. Checks all the boxes, but unfortunately, what we're seeing now is things are a little more complicated than that. And unfortunately, part of this lie, which was that you didn't need to become a financial expert, that you could just do the basics and do the bare minimum and you'll be A-okay, that is exactly what has gotten people into the rut that they are in. But it's not just because people had this wrong perception of the economy or whatever. They don't understand the thing that we call money. I mean, and that one, I'm gonna get a little energized here because I am not the same person that I was like 5 years ago. If I time traveled backwards to go tell my past self about money, I would be using language like I'd be speaking English, but I would be using words that my past self would look at me and I know he would go, "Are you really me? Like, are you sure that you're me? Because I don't know what you're talking about." And that's how different, like, you know how people talk about like alternate universes and whatnot and like different realities. I'm not talking about that, but it's literally like I'm an alternate reality from me 5 years ago. That's how different I am as a person because of what I know about finance, because of how much I basically had to learn to be able to navigate this system that we're all born into. And that's the thing that sucks the most, is we're just born into this. Like, we didn't sign up to be running our own personal little company, which is like me, you know, like saying this, this person am a company in this system. And that goes into like legal stuff, which is another, the legal stuff. That's another whole thing that I've done a whole bunch of learning on, of understanding why it is that you are a legal entity, or you have a legal entity that can make contracts with companies and whatnot. That may sound like that doesn't matter to you. Oh man, I don't want to go off, but that's everything to you. Like, because that's the whole system. It's everything. It's all contracts, but that's a totally different video for another day. If you're interested, it kind of gets into sovereign citizen stuff, and I'm not saying that like I've gone full blown into whatever direction. I'm just saying that I've learned things that gets labeled as like kooky or whatever, when in reality it's just the law. And so if you're interested in more of that, go ahead and comment and let me know. But yeah, if you don't feel like you are a financial expert compared to the you from 5 years ago, you need to change that. You need to learn finance. And I'm sorry that that's the case. I really am. Because obviously we didn't all go to finance school, right? We didn't all want to become financial experts. However, because of the system we're in, which I'm going to extrapolate on in a second here, because of the system we're in, if you don't, to some degree or capacity, become a financial expert compared to your past self, you're going to really struggle. And if you're already struggling, it's probably because there's some things that you either don't realize or you haven't really taken seriously. So let me explain. You are in a system that is slowly sucking you dry. When I say you, the people that I'm talking to are the ones who don't understand how the system does that. If you hear what I'm saying and you're like, oh yeah, I already know how that works, then you have done a good job of getting some learning done so that it's not sucking you dry as much as other people. But if you're hearing this and you're going, how is it sucking me dry? Or you're like, well, I can feel it sucking me dry, but I don't understand how it's sucking me dry. You need to go learn. That's like a whole class worth of videos. I'm not going to put it all in this tiny video. You need to go learn about the Federal Reserve. You need to go learn about fiat currency. Let's start here. You know what? Let's get a little miniature class here going. All right. I've got a $5 bill. Good old Abe. All right. Honest Abe. There we go. I've got a $5 bill here. If I read this $5 bill, because if you've never read your money, I mean, do you even know what this is? I'm about to tell you. But it starts with like actually looking at it and reading the darn thing. It's not just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. It's not all Latin. Literally right at the top of any dollar bill, whether it's $1, $5, $20, doesn't matter. Any dollar bill on the border at the top. Okay, I don't know if this is going to be mirrored or not or whatever. Maybe I'll no, I can't flip my camera around. Basically, it says right on here, Federal Reserve Note. It says that on your money. It says Federal Reserve Note. Do you know what the Federal Reserve is? It's a bank. So this is a bank note. You may have seen that in video games or in history textbooks, whatever. This is a bank note. This isn't the past. This is right here, right now. But I bet you're asking, well, what the frick is a bank note? I will tell you to a degree. I'm not a financial expert, and this is not financial advice. This is for what I can provide for education, right? A bank note is a recognition. It's a written note. You could say it's a promissory note, but it's a written note that is evidence of a debt. Okay? Why is it evidence of a debt? Because it is claiming, there's a claim on it that says, basically, whoever holds this, or whoever this is endorsed by, depending, has a claim to this amount of money. In other words, it's an IOU. That's what it is. It's an IOU. It's as simple as that. So, okay, basically, I just want to explain, but I want to get your mind thinking about what this is, because isn't it weird that we trade IOUs around for goods and services? Isn't that strange? Like, literally, if you were to get a sticky note and write on there, I owe you this amount of money, and you hand it to someone, congratulations, you just created your own currency. Now, that doesn't mean that it's legal tender in America, but I'm just saying that in your own little world, you just created a fiat currency. And if you don't understand what fiat is, this is what I mean. You have to go learn. You got to go learn and understand that you're getting robbed. You're getting... maybe I'll end with this, because this is going to be a zinger. But this lady was like recording and talking about how like it's so ridiculous how expensive things are that she couldn't even get a mobile home, like a single wide. And she was like jokingly saying it's basically the new American dream. Oh, if I just work hard enough and save me some money, I can get me my single wide. And she pointed out that back in the day, which literally was only like 20 years ago, not even, if you were living in a trailer, you were picked on by your friends for being poor. These days, you're poor, which is a lot of people, if you can't afford a trailer. That's scary stuff. But when she was like going on about this, she just threw this out loud, this statement out loud. She asked, she's like, man, I mean, like, I was already low class, so what's below the low class? And unfortunately, I have an answer for that. It's the slave class. That's what's below the low class. It's the slave class. And that's what a lot of people are getting forced into right now, where you are part of the labor force, but you are not valued as a human being. Really scary stuff. This is why I'm sharing this information, is to help set you free. Now, not free in the sense of you can just go do whatever you want, but free in the sense of you're not going to get forced into the slave class. I don't want that for you. I want you to know that there's hope. Literally, you can do things no matter what your situation is. If you, here's an example of like lack of education. Do you know what bankruptcy is? Do you know how that works? I'll bet, because this is how it was for me, I'll bet you only know about bankruptcy because of the game Monopoly, which means you think going bankrupt is bad, right? Well, actually, some people out there, you need to look into it. This is not financial advice. I do not know your situation, but some of you need to go ahead and look into bankruptcy, filing for bankruptcy and seeing the benefits it could do for you in the situation you're in because you're too steeped in debt. There's consequences, but it's there for a reason. It's there to get you back on your feet. Anyway, that's just one example of like the financial literacy in our country is just down the toilet. We don't know anything about our money. You got to learn. And I could add like a little Bitcoin footnote here. When you learn what the system is doing to you, you will understand why you need Bitcoin and other hard assets, because those are the way to get around or out of the system that we're stuck in. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Gold, Bitcoin, art, collectibles, real estate, but not really real estate, but basically investments, which is just a transfer of wealth or of energy from storing it in money to storing it into something you can invest in. When you do that, you are preserving your wealth away from greedy hands, basically. I'll just leave it at that, okay? I'll do another video another time talking more details about how money is stolen right out from your wallet without you even knowing it. But that's not what you need to know right now. What you need to know is if you feel like you're heading for, or you're already in the slave class because of the system just pooping on your face, I'm telling you, it's not over yet. Don't give up. You still have hope. There's lots of options and opportunities for you, even here in America. Even if you can't get a job, that's not what it's all about. It's not all about the money. There's a lot of stuff going on here. You gotta get a grip, get it together, find community. Don't be alone. I'm here, I'm going to keep posting. I'm going to keep encouraging you to keep going. I was saying before, I don't care if you're sleeping in your car. Kudos to you. You're saving that money. You are building up wealth so that in the future, you're not going to be sleeping in your car. Don't worry. You're going to make it. It's going to be all right. But you got to hold on. Yeah, so, normally I say get out there, stack some sats, and go get some Bitcoin. But, I didn't talk too much about that. So I'm just going to say peace, love, and I don't know. Be blessed, guys. I love y'all. I'm here for you. I'm here to encourage you. I'm here to smile with you, I'm not going to pretend things aren't crappy. But I'm also not going to pretend you can't do something about it. I love y'all. I'll talk to you later. Peace.